Welcome to weeks 3 and 4 of Unleash Yourself. For the next 2 weeks, we are going to be deep diving into our emotions. We are going to be going through an emotional awareness exercise. Now, this exercise is going to be split up into a couple different components. So, the first one is I'm going to give you a list of various different emotions that we have the ability to experience. So they could be things like joy or happiness, bliss, peace. They also could be things like sadness and sorrow and anger and rage and despair. So that we have a wide range of emotions that we can experience while we are here, on planet Earth. So one of the things that a lot of the times we don't actually consider, though, is our emotions. So we all experience emotions differently. There's no two people that will experience the same emotion the exact same way. There are various degrees of that emotion, and we all define it in our own way based on our opinions, our biases, based on our experiences and the situations that we've been through. So one of us may define, happiness one way, while another person may not resonate with that definition at all. And so first, what we have to do is we have to look at these emotions and we have to say, okay, well, what do these emotions mean to me personally? So spend the next 2 weeks and put yourself into a situation where you were experiencing some of these emotions. So whether it be you were extremely happy in one time, you were experiencing sorrow at another time, you were angry here, you were frustrated here, you were feeling anxious here, and really, put yourself in that emotion, feel that emotion full-heartedly, just, put your attention to it, and allow that emotion to kind of take you over, to consume you. And then write down everything that you can about that emotion. How did it make you feel? Were you warm? Were you hot? Where all of a sudden did you get a headache? Did you feel tingly? Did your feet fall asleep? Any type of physical sensation that the body is experiencing while you put your attention to that emotion, write it down. If you feel that it affects you in a certain area of the body, write that down. Right? So, you might have a wave of love go through you. And maybe when you have a wave of love go through you, you feel lighthearted, you feel it up in the chest, your vision kind of seems to get brighter. And so you want to write these things down. And the idea is because you want to become aware of your emotions, completely aware of them. So that way, when we get to things like identifying triggers and traumas and dealing with shadow work and changing the narrative, that we know what it's like when those emotions are there. So that's going to be the first part, is to fully feel into those emotions and write down all the sensations that you are experiencing while you are consumed with that emotion. And I literally mean, like, allow that emotion to bottle up inside of you. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. But allow that emotion in, because it is in the awareness of these emotions that we actually become in control of those emotions, right? A lot of people consider themselves to be emotionally mature because they don't allow their emotions to consume them. But emotional maturity is allowing your emotions to flow through you, experiencing those emotions full-heartedly, and having control over them so that they're not in control of you. And so that's the first part of this assignment, is we're going to spend some time feeling these emotions right to our core and writing down a definition of what they mean to us, right? And nobody can tell you that your definition is wrong because it's your definition, right? We all experience our emotions very, very differently. And so don't worry about what other people are going to think about your definition, because at the end of the day, the definition just has to make sense to you. So that's the first part. The second part is to also pay attention to the emotions that we're going to feel over the next 2 weeks. A lot of times emotions pop up and they are displaying patterns that are happening to us. And so there's always lessons that are to be learned while we're here going through this journey of life. And oftentimes those lessons are linked to our emotions, and we miss these lessons because we're so out of sync with our emotions that we don't even realize that there are lessons there. So we want to write things down. So if it's Monday morning and it's 10 a.m. and all of a sudden you are just frustrated and there's really no reason for you to be frustrated, or maybe there is a reason, maybe work isn't going well, or we didn't sleep well, or the dog or the cat are bugging us, or maybe they're sick, or whatever is going on in your life, write down, what was the situation? What time was it? What day was it? What emotion did I feel? What triggered the emotion? And really pay attention to those instances. Now, just write it down. Don't put a lot of thought into what it is. Just, the dog threw up, I'm late for work, it's Monday morning, it's 7 a.m., I had to clean up after the dog, so I'm frustrated because I'm running behind schedule. Just write it down, okay? And then, maybe Monday at 6 p.m., I get a wave of love that just all of a sudden goes through me. I don't really know, what am I doing? I'm like just finishing dinner. I was considering calling my friend or my coworker or my family member, and all of a sudden I was hit with this massive wave of love. It just kind of hit me, right? And just write it down. So what we're going to do is just pay attention to when the emotion is hitting us and what is going on, what is the trigger behind the emotion. And then we're just going to look and see if there's a pattern. So is there a pattern where, Monday mornings at 10 a.m. I tend to always get frustrated? Or do I get these wave of loves and they always appear to be in the evening between like 6 and 8, and not every day, but and that's what we're going to look for. We're going to look for patterns that are showing up in our life, because patterns are the universe or God or creator, great spirit, creatrix, whatever you want to call it. Patterns and synchronicities is how the universe communicates with us. It's how we know whether we're in flow or not. And so we have to learn to recognize the symbols and recognize the patterns as they come to us. But if we're out of sync with our emotions, a lot of times we miss these things. We miss the patterns. And so first we have to become emotionally aware. So that's what we're going to work on for the next 2 weeks, is becoming emotionally aware of our own individual emotions. So that's what we're going to do. And so spend some time on this, get a journal, write them all down. I will give you a list of emotions. And if you haven't experienced one of those emotions, like if you've lived a relatively blessed life and you've never experienced rage or despair or some of those like heavy, hard-hitting emotions, then that's okay. Just write down, I've never experienced this. And so that way you're aware that that is an emotion, but you've just been fortunate enough not to have experienced it, at least in this lifetime. And so I will give you that list, and just write down all of your experiences that you have with the emotions that you have experienced. So as always, if you have questions or you need clarity, or you just need some information you want to share, please feel free to share. Just a reminder, we have our Zoom coming up on the 18th of February, and I look forward to meeting with you soon.